So we begin in Senegal, where there are running battles between protesters and police on the streets of the capital, Dakar, after a court decided that opposition politician Ousmane Sonko should remain in custody. Violence broke out 2 days ago after Sonko was arrested for taking part in an unauthorized rally. He's also facing rape charges, which he denies, saying the accusation is part of a plot to block him from running for president in 2024. Let's bring in Nicholas Hack, who's covering these protests for us from Dakar. Quite some unusual scenes on the streets of Dakar today. Nicholas, tell us about what's been happening these past few hours.
Well, yes, Foley, we're in front of one of the main arteries of the capital. Normally, at this time of the day, it's bustling with traffic. Look at it now. At the very end of the road here are protesters who earlier on were chanting Libérez Sonko, which means in French, free Sonko. They're met with police in security forces who have shot tear gas. But on this roundabout, also, the military have been deployed for reinforcement. And in front of the military APC unit, a Total gas station, a French gas station that was ransacked late last night by protesters. We've seen a night of unprecedented violence here in Senegal, not only in the capital, Dakar, but throughout the country. We've seen protesters attack cars on the highway, attacked French gas station, supermarkets, as well as a police station in the region of Guédiawaye. So really a high level of violence. Still, despite the presence of the military and all these security forces, no firing of live bullets. They're using tear gas. They're trying to contain the crowd.
Right.
Foley?
It would seem from what you're saying, Nicholas, and the fact that this is becoming widespread now, that the protests are not just about the arrest of Ousmane Sonko.
That's right. I mean, it's not just about Sonko, because this country has gone through a very difficult year through the coronavirus pandemic. The government put restrictive measures, and that's very difficult for many of the protesters here who are day laborers, who rely on their daily income to go about their business. And when there was a curfew put in place abruptly earlier in the month of February, restricting movement at night, well, that put a lot of people without jobs. And last year, in fact, during the coronavirus pandemic, for the first time in decades, people in Senegal were reliant on food aid. So the coronavirus pandemic and the economic fallout of it has had a heavy impact on people. Now, President Macky Sall has called on debt relief to try to manage the situation, but it's more than that. It's really a feeling from protesters that they want their voices heard, that they feel that they're not being heard by their government.
But there's also the political aspect in all this, and the fact that President Macky Sall has been accused of trying to stifle the opposition, of trying to prevent the opposition from organizing itself and participating in elections.
That's right. And in fact, the opposition accused specifically President Macky Sall of using the courts to eliminate its political rivals, starting with the son of the former president, Abdoulaye Wade, Karim Wade, that was charged with corruption. And then there was the former mayor of Dakar, Khalifa Sall, who we just saw drove by in a show of support to these protesters, who was again charged with corruption, making him uneligible to run for office. Ousmane Sonko is a political outsider. He describes himself as the anti-establishment candidate and politician. He wants to be the next president of this country. And he's been really attacking the president quite directly, accusing him and his family of corruption, of amassing wealth, whilst most people live on less than $2 a day. He accuses the government also of playing into the hands of France, the former colonial power, allowing French companies to operate freely, and not doing enough to protect ordinary Senegalese. So all those emotions are wrapped up in the protest that you see behind me. And in fact, you can see it in the chanting. It's not just free Sonko. People have been calling for dignity, simply put. Really a sense that they really want to they want to see some change in their political elite or the government, so that their issues or their problems are resolved by them. Foley?
Nick, thank you very much for that update. Nicholas Hack with the latest on the situation in Dakar, Senegal, which we'll keep a close eye on here on Al Jazeera, of course.